The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Salutations, I'm Dalton Castle, and you're listening to the Wrestling Super Sloppy Family Double Dare Shoot podcast. Yeah, I think I nailed that. And enjoy.
And here we go.
It's showtime, folks!
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode number 11 of the Wrestling Super Show podcast. I am your host, Joey Roberts, and as always, I've got the man who's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he's a Coco Beware guy, James Tingstrom, and we are the self-proclaimed tag team champions of the podcast universe. How are you doing today, James?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing better, but yeah. I guess before we get started, I just want to say that it does suck that we didn't get to record last week, but I did have a family emergency. I got a text last Thursday from my brother saying that my grandpa wasn't doing very well. So I told James, hey, I can't record this weekend. I got to go see my family. And then my brother texted me the following morning and said that my grandpa had passed away. Yeah, so I was hoping to see him one more time, but at least I got to see him, I think it was in December for Christmas. So it hadn't, it wasn't like super long time ago that I didn't get there that I saw him, but at least it was relatively close. But I know he went out the way he wanted to go out. He's now with my grandma and my dad looking down on me, probably judging every decision I've ever made and will continue to make.
Well, let me send condolences to you and your family.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know what was going on, why we missed last week. But we're back.
Which is great timing because last week was a good week of wrestling and this week was not.
Yeah, this week was a little, not very good. I mean, it had its moments, as most wrestling, does, but yeah, it definitely could have been better.
Granted, I was very distracted and very busy this week, but I watched all wrestling thinking, can this just be over? This is not interesting. Especially
Yeah.
Raw. It was painful to watch this week.
Yeah, there was, I'm trying to think,
I can't.
yeah, Raw definitely.
I have notes, but I don't know what these notes mean. Like, I can't tell you what happened on Raw.
Alright, I guess we'll dive into some news and rumors. And I've kind of got a lot because it's like 2 weeks worth, so some of it might be old news, some of it might be new news. So let's just go with it. Many fans are expecting the debut of Finn Balor tonight at Extreme Rules. We are recording 7 hours from now, 7 hours from now, Extreme Rules is going to be going on. But, however, according to Cage Side Seats, they said that the debut could come not tonight, but tomorrow night on Raw. So who knows if he's actually going to show up or not. I mean, he's been trolling everyone since January, so yeah. At the Toronto Ring of Honor tapings, Nigel McGuinness set up a few matches for the Best in the World event this summer. He set up Motor City Machine Guns versus The Addiction for the tag titles. BJ Whitmer versus Steve Corino. They made it seem like it was going to be Silas Young versus ACH. But the main one being Jay Lethal versus Jay Briscoe for the Ring of Honor heavyweight title.
That's a shot out of left field.
Yeah,
Like,
and
Jay Briscoe hasn't even been in the world title picture since last year, Best of the World.
Yeah, and that's why. And a lot of people were saying, well, why aren't they giving it to Adam Cole after the angle at Global Wars?
Or Donovan Dijak. They've been building this for 7 months now, slowly. But why is it? I don't know.
Yeah, the whole reason behind it is that Jay Briscoe said he never got his rematch, and it's been 1 year since Jay Lethal beat Jay Briscoe. So
at this point,
that's really the whole storyline.
Until they have a new episode of Ring of Honor TV, I really don't care because there hasn't been anything new for a month and a half now.
Also, there's not going to be anything new next week either. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw a clip on YouTube. I think it's just about the Bullet Club this week.
Congratulations, Ring of Honor. You've become TNA.
Yeah. All right. Another round of cuts is expected to happen after tonight. Not right after tonight, but within the next couple days. It's rumored that way anyway. And there's rumors of another surprising superstar, a women's star, and one who would be considered a top superstar. There was the recent and soon-to-be cuts are being made so that the company can make room for new talent. There were rumors of Lillian Garcia. All right, we're good.
Okay.
No, I just got put on hold. No biggie. There were rumors of Lillian Garcia being released, but she said that she wasn't, and that WWE was letting her take some time off because of her dad. I think her dad had cancer or something.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was something like that. He was sick in some capacity, and yeah, they let her take some time off. But she was back on Raw this week. Trying to think what else. I know there's a lot of people are speculating that Ryback and Adam Rose are going to be two that are going to be cut after what's been going on with them.
I would think Ryback might be cut, but I got a feeling Adam Rose is not going to be released until this legal situation plays itself out. Only because of something that was brought up on Solomonster's podcast last week, where he talked about if he's here on a work visa, he could be deported back to South Africa. And with him having a sick child and a wife, and I think she was recently pregnant, or they had a second child.
Yeah, they had a second one, I believe.
Whatever the situation is, at least let him work it out before they say, goodbye and let him go.
Yeah, exactly. Guess who's being advertised for the June 6th Monday Night Raw? Any guesses?
Seth Rollins, of course.
Yes, sir. PW Insider is reporting that Rollins is penciled in to return on that day. He's been training at the Performance Center for the past several days. Cena is going to be returning next week. Rollins the following week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Wyatts or Randy Orton return, tonight or, within the next weeks or the weeks after.
Why would you announce that? Like, just have him show up on a Raw or a pay-per-view?
I hate that they announce. I always hate when they announce returns just in general. Like, okay, so, John Cena.
That one makes sense because he was at WrestleMania, and it was like, where's he been since WrestleMania?
Yeah, but with Seth Rollins, I mean, everyone's been hoping, speculating, like, oh, when's he going to show up? I say don't tell anyone and just have him show up.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the company for you.
Yeah. Stone Cold said in an interview, his time at Mania 32 may have been the last time he will ever step foot in a WWE ring.
Of course it is. If he's going to blow his shoulder out every time he throws a punch, I wouldn't get back in the ring either.
Yeah. He said, I don't know when the next time I'll hit a WWE ring will ever be again. That might have been the last time, and I wanted it to be there in Dallas. But there's also speculation of him like being not necessarily done with the WWE, but something along those lines, because they've got that interview tonight after Raw, tomorrow night. Sorry, after
with
Raw.
Mick Foley.
Where it's Mick Foley instead of where it would normally be the Stone Cold podcast.
Well, if I may step in to squash this rumor, I
for it.
do listen to the Stone Cold podcast, and he did say that because of his recovery and his arm still being in a sling for the next few weeks, he can't travel. So therefore, they've taken upon themselves to replace him with Mick Foley for this one occasion.
Well, there we go.
He did state that he's not done with the company. There's no bad blood. He just physically can't travel at this time, and when he's healthy enough, he'll be back doing the podcast normally.
Yeah, and that's what I figured, too.
I mean, there was some rumors a few months ago that there was bad blood between him and the company because he didn't come out on a Raw or something that he was advertised for or whatever. And he had mentioned that they never sent anybody to, like, I guess, pick him up, or they never sent travel arrangements for him. So he was never clear on whether or not he was even supposed to be at the arena for that particular event. So, I mean, there's been rumors before that they're on bad terms, but this one's just at least from Stone Cold's mouth, this is a case of he's not physically healthy enough to travel at this time.
Yeah.
Because he just had major reconstructive surgery on his shoulder. He had a torn rotator cuff, and then when he punched, I think it was Big E, right? That he threw a punch at WrestleMania?
No. He fought Rusev.
Rusev, that's right, Rusev. And he threw a punch, his whole shoulder he ripped everything out of place. Like, he destroyed his shoulder on that one punch.
Damn.
And he had his doctor, he told a funny story. His doctor was like, don't fuck up my work, son.
All right. It's being reported that, quote, CM Punk is not progressing with MMA and his UFC debut is in doubt. The expectation for his fight with Mickey Gall is that Gall is going to run through him, and the UFC hasn't been in contact with Punk at all in recent weeks, and Punk has been keeping a low profile away from the media. He has indicated that he will definitely fight this year, but he may be in a situation where he may not be ready, and at 37 years old, the door may have closed for him to prove the critics wrong, end quote.
Now, I'm not the first person to say it, but what did I say on our year-long prediction show before WrestleMania?
Oh, yeah, you said that he wasn't going to fight at all this year.
Never, ever going to fight, and he'll be back with WWE before WrestleMania 33. Or at WrestleMania 33.
Yeah,
this is all falling into place perfectly for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if WWE goes to Chicago at all anytime this year.
They just did. I think they're probably going to go at least once again, because they usually go twice a year.
They've already been twice.
Oh.
They were for a Raw
That's
on
right,
the way
and
to
a pay-per-view.
And then Payback.
Then they might go a third time, because they usually do at least 1 or 2 Raws a year.
Yeah, I mean, they classify Chicago as a smart town.
Every other year it's a pay-per-view. Like, it was that year they advertised Punk to be back at Payback when he was still rehabbing knee surgery. It was in Chicago, and he was kind of like, what the fuck? What? I'm not even healthy enough to wrestle, and you've scheduled me for a pay-per-view in Chicago?
Yeah.
I think it was against Chris Jericho, too.
Probably. Cedric Alexander has announced on Twitter that he is leaving Ring of Honor. It was also said on Twitter that someone overheard him say that he got the call. So it's looking like he may be WWE bound, but nothing's official.
That's cool.
I'm hoping he shows up I'm hoping he gets, if I could talk, I'm hoping he joins NXT, and I'm hoping he joins that Cruiserweight Classic tournament, because he was always one of my favorites in Ring of Honor. I mean, like, I know he played the heel, but he always put on good matches.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
This should come as no surprise, but TNA is reportedly months behind on paying their production crew. And also, Eric Young and Bobby Roode are owed a combined amount of around $100,000.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
So they've essentially worked for free for the last year.
Yeah, for the most part.
$100,000 is like an annual salary for some of those guys.
Yeah. That's more than what NXT, like, top guys make.
Oh my god. And they pay for their own hotels and stuff on the road.
Yeah. Speaking of Eric Young, I went to a wrestling event here in Nashville last night, and Eric Young was in the main event. But he was signing autographs before the show started, and he's a big Nashville Predators hockey fan. So am I. So I went up to him and told him, I was like, hey, thanks for going to every Preds, home game, because every time that he went, the Preds ended up winning. And he's like, yeah, there was one time I didn't get to go, but I have a good reason for it. And I was like, oh yeah? He's like, yeah, I was too busy getting a job with the WWE. So I was like, well, that's a pretty good excuse, I guess. But yeah, I met the Squisher himself last night too. He was pretty cool.
Was Eric Young wearing an Avengers t-shirt?
He was.
Awesome, sweet. I thought so.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I met Nash, Tatanka, MVP. MVP is high on manners.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was high on something else.
No. No, he was, there were some kids, a couple people in front of me, and they just like, here, sign this. And he's like, what, you're not going to say please? Not going to say, you're not going to do all the,
yeah.
Be nice, use your manners. And the kid's like, oh, I don't know, sorry. And he's like, where are your parents? I need to talk to your parents.
Yeah, you didn't come through and shake everyone's hand and introduce yourself?
Yeah. And then the guys in front of me, MVP was talking to them. He's like, yeah, I don't know why kids nowadays, they're just, here, sign this. There's no please, there's no thank you, there's no nothing. So whenever I walked up to him, I was like, can you please sign my poster? And he's like, oh, well, thank you. But yeah, it was, yeah, last night was really fun. But I'll move on. Emma was injured at a house show last weekend. Last weekend before last. I don't remember when I wrote this. But she ruptured a disc in her back, and she successfully had back surgery.
Have you seen that GIF? It's a Simpsons GIF. That's Bart Simpson working at that that burlesque brothel, and his grandpa walks in, hangs his hat up on the hook, sees him, turns around, walks right back out.
Yep.
That was the GIF that was going around for Dana Brooke's arrival on Raw, because now Emma's hurt and there's no reason for Dana Brooke to stay on Raw now.
Well, I've also read, I didn't write it down, but I read this online, that they're probably going to keep Dana Brooke up, but team her with everyone's favorite, Eva Marie.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah. It's just a rumor. I don't know, nothing for sure. But yeah.
Now, if it keeps her off of NXT, good for Eva Marie.
Yeah, that's true. And this was something that I read yesterday. Cody Rhodes asked for his release from the WWE. And from the sounds of it, it looks like they gave it to him. So yeah, I don't know if him and Eden are, I don't know if they have kids or if they want to start having kids or if it's something, more serious. I don't know. But yeah, this kind of took me as a surprise when I was reading it.
Or if he's sick of being Stardust.
That's true. I also did read that him and Goldust walked out on SmackDown.
Huh.
Like before it even started.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll find out more. But yeah, I guess we'll get into some Raw.
Do we have to?
we can slam through it. Raw came to us live from Greensboro, North Carolina, and they kept mentioning that it was Flair country, so that got old real quick.
That got old in 1998.
Yeah, No kidding. Raw started with an AJ Styles promo. He said he's been a champion everywhere and said that he's even headlined the Tokyo Dome. Reigns interrupts him. Lots of "We want Rollins" chants. AJ said that Reigns is the guy that he is going to beat on Sunday. Reigns talked about murdering him, about murdering AJ. He said something about like he's gonna beat him until he breathes his last breath or something. I don't remember. I wrote it down. I don't know why. Yeah, he said that he's going to take a chair and beat him within an inch of his life. Yep. Anderson and Gallows music hits, and then as AJ turns around, the Usos are magically in the ring, and he eats a punch from Reigns. And yeah, of course they're gonna make Reigns look strong. So blah blah blah.
Yep.
Up next was Cesaro taking on Sami Zayn, and both Miz and Kevin Owens were on commentary. People, if you have the network, go find Cesaro versus Zayn on the first take. I think it's the first takeover event.
Yes, it is.
And also, I think they have it on the Best of NXT DVD Blu-ray they put out. They have the 2 out of 3 Falls match, and that was nominated for Match of the Year. They always put on good matches, so if, go out of your way, go find those 2 matches because they're amazing. But yeah, the Cesaro vs. Zayn match didn't even, lasted about a minute. Shane came out and said that Owens and Miz will team against Zayn and Cesaro. And probably my favorite part of Raw was the camera pan to Owens, and he screams, "He's the worst one!" But then Stephanie comes out and says the better match would be Miz and Cesaro versus Zayn and Owens, which I agree. I'd love to see them be like a reluctant tag team and then end up winning the titles somehow. But they like hate each other the whole time.
That would be kind of cool.
Crowd was loving the team of Zayn and Owens. Owens got the hot tag, and the crowd popped pretty big. End of the match happened when Cesaro was going for the big swing, but Miz tagged himself in. Miz came in, threw Cesaro out. Miz went for the big swing instead. Cesaro came in, did the Miz's finisher on the Miz. Zayn hit the haluva kick for the win. Moving on. Backstage interview with Jericho. He talks about his jacket and how Ambrose should be arrested. Moving on. I'm over Jericho.
Yeah, I'm getting there again, but he's still doing his best work.
He is still doing some of the best heel work that he's done. But yeah, I'm not really buying into the Ambrose Jericho feud. I didn't like it from the start, and I still don't really like it now. Yeah, I'm not feeling it either. Up next is the debut of the Shining Stars. Yeah, because it can't be the re-debut if they ignore the Primo and Epico tag team from a few years ago, like it never happened. Yeah. Primo and Epico come out and cut a really boring promo about how when they step into the ring, that becomes their paradise. They take on John Skyler and Corey Hollis. It was a quick squash match. Did you catch Michael Cole making up names for Skyler and Hollis? No. Yeah, Michael Cole said that the Shining Stars took out Scott Jackson and Brian Kennedy. Oh, that's right. I was like, obviously, I'm reading their tights, and I'm like, wait, what? That's not their name. He clearly didn't watch NXT last week, because Corey Hollis and John Skyler took on the American Alpha as Skyler and Hollis. But where did he get those lame names from? I have no idea. But I already hate this Shining Stars gimmick. I hated it weeks ago when they were actually like showing like the video packages and stuff where they were like boring, travel agents. It's not exciting and it's not very original. Yeah, and I hate it even more now that they're here. I'm just like, just go away. This is a throwback to 1995 where every wrestler had a side job. Yeah. Like, you're in the WWE in 2016. Yes, you're a low-card guy, but you still can't make a living?
Like you have to go be a travel agent as a second job to make ends meet.
Yeah. Who knows?
Better than working for TNA.
Yeah, that's very true. After that, they do a video package and promote John Cena's return in 2 weeks. Yeah. Up next, Ambrose comes out and cuts a promo. He wants a match with Jericho at Extreme Rules. Jericho says okay, and that they're having the first ever Asylum match.
Yeah, I got something to say about this. They said it several times. This is the first ever Asylum match.
Oh, no, it
Nope.
ain't.
Scott Steiner was doing that shit back in 1999 and 2000 in WCW. And
Raven was doing it in TNA with the Clockwork Orange match.
Exactly. And Scott Steiner's Asylum matches were cooler because I went back and watched one against Shane Douglas from Nitro in 2000. They lower the cage down, and it's not your normal 4x4 steel cage. It's a circular, looks like almost like a kennel. It lowers down inside of the ropes. It almost cuts the ring in half, and it's almost like a death match cage, as you would see in like an old Lions Den match from the WWF when Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman were having those matches. It's a real small circular cage. That's an Asylum match. You don't get in through a door. The cage lowers around you, so you can't get out. You can't escape. It's really basically a fight to the death kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's an Asylum match, not this lame shit with a straight jacket and a kendo stick and a garbage can.
And a potted plant and a mop.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wrote down too, and I'm like, yeah, I thought it was hilarious that they're promoting this as the first ever, when clearly it's been done before in TNA and WCW. Up next was Dana Brooke versus Becky Lynch. There was an awful backstage segment with Dana Brooke, and she was just running down some dude about how he looked stupid, and I hated it. It was stupid. I don't know, the match was kind of boring. I mean, it was kind of, back and forth, but there's lots of We Want Sasha chants. But Dana Brooke won with a roll-up.
Yeah.
You got it? Yeah?
No, I got nothing.
Okay. After the commercial break, there was a Bob Backlund, Darren Young, Make Darren Young Great Again segment. I'm already over this segment, or this too.
I'm willing to give this a chance, only because I want to see how batshit crazy Bob Backlund's going to be.
Yeah. What was it, the very first Make Darren Young Great Again package that they showed where he just yells, "Wrestling is life!" Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, I'm willing to see where it goes, but I don't have any high hopes for it.
And Darren Young does not strike me as a good promo.
Yeah.
Like, he needs Titus Young bad.
Yeah. After that was a backstage segment with Shane and Stephanie. They're interrupted by the Dudleys. Dudleys say they want some small guys from North Carolina, and Shane and Stephanie say no, and that one of the Dudleys will be facing Big Cass. Yeah. After this, they show that after 5 long months, we are finally getting the debut of the Golden Truth, and they had a video package that seemed to go on forever and ever.
I don't know how I feel about any of this. Breeze and Fandango as a tag team, I don't care.
I'm just glad they're doing something with Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, but I
mean, I will say this. They're calling themselves Breezango, which is quite possibly the worst tag team name. But WWE missed a great chance to get a new sponsor and call this team Febreze.
That's true.
That's not my joke. I heard it on multiple podcasts, and I was just like, oh, I like that. I'm going to take it. But yeah, it was a quick match. R-Truth hit Goldust by accident, and Breeze got the cover for the win. And then after that, there was a boring segment with R-Truth and Goldust, interrupted by, I guess, Breezango, whatever. They call them the Golden Girls, and walk off.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I skipped the whole New Day Time Machine segment. I was not about that nonsense.
It was okay. My favorite part was, they come out, they cut this promo, they have a time machine they call the New DeLorean. They're like, oh, we have to go back to, the times of, we're vaudevillains and all that shit. But they go back. Kofi is the first one to come out because he hears the SOS music, like his original entrance music, and he comes out and he cuts like a quick promo about, and he has got the whole Jamaican accent and everything. And then all of a sudden, Xavier Woods comes out and he says, "No, we didn't go back far enough." And he grabs Kofi and he's trying to pull him back in, and Kofi screams, "No, 2009 was my best year. Leave me here." But yeah, and then they go back to the quote 1920s. They start talking shit about the vaudevillains, and the vaudevillains attack them. End of segment. Yep. Up next is a tag match between Luke Gallows and Anderson, with AJ Styles in their corner against the Usos with Roman Reigns in their corner. And in my opinion, I'm not saying this was a good or a bad match.
It was just a match. Yeah.
This, I think, was the second week in a row that this storyline should have been the main event. I mean, I get what they're doing with the whole, the contract signing with the women and the women's championship. But this is the top storyline going into tonight's pay-per-view. So, I don't know, it's just a little thing. I was, both last week and this week's, the past two Raws, the storyline has taken, or the match with the storyline has taken place at where we are at 9 o'clock, which is the top of the third hour, not the main event. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. Usos ended up winning clean. I don't know if have Gallows and Anderson even won a match since they've debuted.
I couldn't tell you.
I know they've lost a lot by DQ, but
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I think maybe on SmackDown or something they've won like a singles match, but I don't know about tag team matches.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was a pretty decent match. The Usos ended up winning when one of the Usos hit a splash on Carl Anderson. After the match, everyone started fighting. Styles ended up hitting Reigns with the chair multiple times and landed the Styles Clash on the chair. I liked that a lot.
Which means he's losing tonight.
Yep. Up next is Big Cass versus Devon Dudley. This was a real short match. I think it was only like less than 2 minutes. Big Cass ended up winning with his East River Crossing finisher. After this was Kalisto versus Del Rio. During this match, Rusev attacked Sin Cara, who was watching on the TV in the back. I hate Del Rio's double foot stomp because he did it again, and Kalisto was just sitting on the middle rope. He could have easily slid through the ropes, but no, he just sat there for like 15 minutes waiting for Del Rio to do that stupid move.
Yep.
Rusev ended up dragging Sin Cara to ringside, continued to beat him up. Kalisto was distracted, and Del Rio won with the backstabber. I get that Rusev was doing this to distract Kalisto, but he was helping a guy who he got into a fight with a couple weeks ago when the League of Nations imploded.
Yeah.
Again, this goes to WWE for getting booking. Yeah. And then the final segment of the night was the contract signing for the women's title. Steph tries to introduce Charlotte, interrupted by Flair. There's an added stipulation to the match. If Ric Flair shows up at all, Charlotte forfeits her title. Segment ended when Flair wanted to fight Shane, but was slapped by Stephanie, and the crowd actually started chanting Stephanie's name, which, shouldn't happen if you're in Flair country. And then Natalya put Charlotte in the sharpshooter. Raw went off the air with Natalya holding the title.
2 stars.
Yeah. All right. I wrote down all the matches that are happening at Extreme Rules. I guess you want to do some predictions?
Hell yeah.
All right. The kickoff match is a no disqualification match between Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler.
Say what? You mean the U.S. title isn't going to be the kickoff match?
Yeah, and the only reason I think that is because...
Well played, Ryback.
Yeah, it's because Rusev's gonna win it. But we'll get into that later.
I'm gonna go with I don't fucking care. Dolph Ziggler. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going Corbin. Just because I like Ziggler, but eh. They announced this on SmackDown. There's a Texas Tornado tag team match between the Usos and Guns and Gallows.
Bullet Club.
Yes, sir. That's why I have two. Whoops. Kalisto versus Rusev for the U.S. title.
Rusev crush.
Yep, me too. And that has no stipulation. New Day versus Vaudevillains in the tag team title match.
New Day.
I want to pick New Day, but I think Vaudevillains will get the cheap victory.
I don't think they're ever going to get put over. I mean, contrary to what I've been saying for the last 2 months, that Vince McMahon was born during the time of vaudeville and therefore will push these guys to the moon. I don't think just yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if New Day ends up winning.
Save that shit for SummerSlam.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I was thinking that would be because the Vaudevillains could win tonight, hold the titles for a couple months, and then have Enzo and Cass win at SummerSlam.
I don't think Enzo and Cass are ever going to be a tag team again. I think Enzo Amore is done as Cass's other guy, and Big Cass just earned himself a one-way ticket to the WWE Championship. Because he's a big guy, he can wrestle, and he can talk.
Yeah. Next up is a submissions match for the women's title. If Ric Flair shows up, Charlotte automatically forfeits her title. Who do you have winning this one?
Charlotte.
Me too. Yeah, there's no chance Natalya wins.
Nope.
Up next is a fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental title between The Miz, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Cesaro.
That's who I was thinking first, but I think Miz is going to retain. Keep the heat on him, and that way they can kind of keep the Zayn-Owens feud going a little bit longer. Plus, I think Kevin Owens, I think he should be going for the heavyweight title now. I really want him to win Money in the Bank, and I think that's next month.
Yeah, it is June.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, if you have the Money in the Bank match, say you have Owens, Zayn, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins returning, Bray Wyatt, you've got all these Randy Orton, you've got all these top guys coming back. That Money in the Bank ladder match could be insane. Not necessarily match-wise, but just the guys in the match.
Yeah.
All of them could potentially be, heavyweight guys. And I think either Bray Wyatt or Owens will win. I honestly think I don't think Rollins should be his one of his first matches back should be a ladder match.
Exactly.
But he'll probably be oh sure, why not? But yeah, I've got the Miz retaining, and you said Cesaro?
Yep.
Cool. An Asylum match between Dean Ambrose and Jericho.
I'm picking Scott Steiner.
Okay. I'll go Raven. AKA Dean Ambrose. Extreme Rules match for the World Heavyweight title. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles.
Make Roman look strong.
Yep, Roman Reigns retains. You have any bold predictions or anything?
Yeah, this show's gonna suck. That's a bold prediction for you. Actually, you know what? Let me, since I brought up Scott Steiner, this Asylum match, I don't know if anybody out there listens to the Sklar Brothers podcast, the comedy duo.
Yeah.
But they had Brad Williams, who's a little person, who's a comedian, and he did the absolute best Scott Steiner impersonation that I have ever heard anybody do. He did a Scott Steiner promo,
snap.
It was one of those I've got 33 1/3 chance of winning to your 1/2% chance of winning. That thing he did from TNA a few years ago.
Oh yeah, where the percentage was like 148%
Yeah,
or
he kind
something.
of started going down that route. I mean, people, just give it a listen. It was absolutely hilarious. It's right up there with Joe Manganiello's Macho Man impersonation. Like, in
Oh,
terms of being spot on.
if you want a spot on Macho Man, look up Dan Soder.
Oh, yes, he is absolutely
Dude,
the
Dan
best.
Soder is like, but yeah, him and Joe Manganiello, them two are top notch. Also, Dan Soder does it on the We Watch Wrestling podcast.
Episode 33, people. Check it out.
Yep,
Or issue
yep,
33. Go check it out.
yep. And then also, I was listening to, on that drive back to visit my family, I was listening to a lot of older issues. I listened to the Dan Soder one. I listened to the Ron Funches one. I listened to the episode where 5 minutes in they find out that Ultimate Warrior died.
Oh, yeah, that was depressing.
Yeah, because they started out and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then they start talking about it. Matt McCarthy, you can hear him crying. And
I like the
crazy.
Casey Corbin episode where he tells the story of his one
the
friend.
Undertaker?
Yeah, you talk to me as if you know me.
I was listening to that while I was mowing my in-laws' yard one day, and I was laughing so hard.
That is some of the best episodes they've done.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, with all these people returning, I think Bray and the Wyatt family might show up probably after the main event ends, either setting up a heel club faction versus a face Wyatt family, or even Bray versus Roman. Like a face Bray versus Roman feud. I don't know. It was just something I was thinking about. But yeah, I don't think Balor shows up either.
I don't really care at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it's been rumored for so long, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It's either going to happen or it's not.
Yep. All right. Ring of Honor this week. They didn't have any new stuff. It was just a look back at Jay Lethal's title run. So we'll move on to some Lucha Underground.
Yeah, some actual wrestling.
Yeah, it starts with a video package showing every winner of the Aztec medallions and show the backstory between Pentagon Jr. and Matanza. Next, they show Cage running into Dario's office. Cage says he wants Chavo and wants his medallion back. Dario says to join him in the ring for the Gift of the Gods ceremony. They go into the ring. He says there's going to be a 7-way match tonight to decide the winner of the Gift of the Gods championship. And the participants are Tejano, Joey Ryan, Sinestro de la Muerte, Aerostar, the Mac, Sexy Star, and what was supposed to be Cage, but Chavo comes out with a medallion and a steel chair. They start fighting. Chavo ends up putting the medallion in, and with him doing that, he will be in the match, and Cage will not be. Cage says that Dario should know by now that he's not a man, he's a machine.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of Cage, correction. It was not Brad Williams on the Sklar Brothers. It was Cage on the Cole Cabana podcast doing the Scott Steiner impersonation. Because he kept comparing him to Scott Steiner because he does that like spike tombstone pile driver that Scott Steiner used to do, where
yeah.
suplexes him and then sits out with the tombstone.
Yeah.
That was they were like, are you impersonating him with any other stuff like the gas? So yeah, correction. Sorry, people.
Up next is a 4-way match between Argenis, Daga, Cobra Moon, and Masquerita Sagrada. Melissa Santos introduces everyone, but before she can introduce Masquerita Sagrada, Famous B grabs the mic, introduces himself, and then introduces Masquerita Sagrada. Lots of action, but in the end, Cobra Moon, I think, hit her finisher, and then she backed away and let Daga get the pinfall.
Huh.
Interesting.
I guess so.
Yeah. Next up was a backstage segment with Killshot and Marty the Moth. Marty the Moth was kind of making fun of Killshot's like army or military background. They fight and it ended with Marty laughing hysterically on the ground.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when You leave all of your team behind enemy lines and then come back home to live your life as a professional wrestler.
Hey, but he's got a mask, so no one knows it's really him.
Probably.
Yeah. But up next is a match between Marty the Moth and Killshot. Crowd starts chanting "creepy bastard" at Marty the Moth. At one point in this match, Killshot nailed Marty with the Death Valley Driver on the apron, which looked pretty painful. Marty got busted open at some point in this match. He was bleeding from his nose and from his mouth. I don't know the name of the move that Killshot used to win the match, but it looked pretty nasty. Marty attacked Killshot after the match, took his dog tags, and also landed a second rope curb stomp. Yep. And then the main event is the Gift of the Gods Championship match.
The best part of this match was Dario introducing each of the individual competitors.
Oh, yeah.
At one point tells Aerostar, "Welcome to Earth."
Yeah, and then what did he say to the Mac?
Baby Mac, baby Mac, baby Mac, baby.
And then also whenever the Mac was putting in the medallion on the belt, he's like, "Yep, circles with circles. Good job, Mac." And then like whenever he was introducing Sexy Star, he's like, "Sexy, sexy, 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 sexy star." But yeah, there was way too much action in this match to even, kind of break it down. But towards the end of the match, Cage came out and he attacked everyone in the match except for Chavo. He hit one of his finishers and dragged Chavo onto him. And of course, all the announcers are like, "What the hell's going on?" So your Gift of the Gods champion is Chavo. But after the match, Cage grabbed a microphone and said that he just came from Dario's office and that Chavo has already agreed to defend the title next week against Cage.
And I think Cage is going to win that belt.
I hope so. I just want Chavo to go away.
That's the only reason they put it on Chavo, because so Cage can get it right back.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah, and then the final segment was a video package of Vampiro beating the shit out of Pentagon Jr. with a kendo stick, while Pentagon Jr. was strung up in some sort of contraption.
And then for all you Walking Dead fans, he went full Negan at the end and took out a baseball bat and was about
wrapped
to
in barbed wire.
crack his skull wide open.
Yep, and right as he swung it at Pentagon Jr.'s face, the show ended.
I know, that was a little bit unnerving. Like, are you trying to kill him?
Yeah, it was a little dark. But yeah, that was Lucha Underground.
Yep.
But move on to some NXT. Starts with a video package of Nia Jax and Bayley. They say they're going to be fighting tonight.
Wow, I'm so excited for that one.
Yeah. First match of the night was kind of set up at last week's NXT when Regal said that Aries and a partner of his choosing would be taking on Blake and Murphy. So this week, the first match was Austin Aries and his mystery partner Shinsuke Nakamura defeating the Dubstep Cowboys.
And I'm glad Blake finally lost the terrible man bun. Now he has to lose the bad back tattoo.
Yeah. This was a short match, and towards the end of the match, kind of got the vibe that Aries will now be feuding with Nakamura.
Oh, yeah, totally. Nakamura blew him off for the tag.
Yeah. But also, and a friend of mine was front row center for the tapings, for the next set of tapings, and he told me everything that happened. So I know what is happening leading into TakeOver.
Yay.
Yeah. But where is it? Also, it looks like Alexa Bliss is no longer the manager of Blake and Murphy. She walked out on them after the match, and then Blake walked out on Murphy. Also, it seems that Blake underwent some sort of surgery. So that's why he hasn't, he didn't get any action in this match, and it doesn't, even on, while they've been touring, only Murphy has been fighting. Blake hasn't been fighting at all. It would just be singles matches between Ty Dillinger and Murphy or someone like that. Backstage interview with Bayley after this. After that was a pretty cool Asuka video package where they featured a song from Hailstorm. After that was a backstage interview with No Way Jose, and he danced away when the interview was done.
I could care less about No Way Jose.
Yeah. After this was, guess what? Another backstage segment with Carmella. She says that she feels bad for Enzo, she's excited for Cass, and that she's in NXT to fulfill her dream of becoming NXT Women's Champion. And then Carmella came out for her match against Peyton Royce. Carmella ended up winning with some sort of triangle choke. They show what happened at the Portland NXT show about the big brawl that happened after the Balor Joe match, and then they show the Facebook Live footage where Regal announces that Balor vs Samoa Joe will be in a cage.
Samoa Joe as a heel is on another level right now.
Oh yeah, hands down.
He's the best thing going in that company heel wise right now.
Yeah. Another backstage segment with Blake Murphy and Alexa. Alexa says that they have been an embarrassment, and basically she breaks up with them. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa defeated Rob Risen and Danny Burch in a quick enhancement match.
I got a couple of things I wrote down about this match.
Go for it.
Danny Burch looks like a bald Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I got a question. Is Rob Risen Tara Risen's cousin?
I don't know. Maybe it might be his son.
I mean, Triple H is old enough. It could be his kid.
It could be.
I immediately thought, when they said Rob Risen, I'm like, the only other name I've ever heard would be Tara Risen. Like, I don't know why that name popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I watched too much WCW back in the 90s.
Yeah. William Regal makes another match for NXT TakeOver. The American Alpha will defend the tag titles versus the Revival, so they get their rematch.
Nice.
And then in the main event, Nia Jax defeated Bayley.
Yeah, it was what it was.
Yeah. The NXT shows are always but it's granted, it's always the takeovers that are so good because most of the NXT tapings are enhancement matches anyway.
You occasionally get the blow-away match or the blow-away show, but yeah, it's like, okay, Nakamura's facing Ty Dillinger. Whatever. You know who's winning this one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa aren't going to lose to Danny Burch and Rob Risen. It's like,
nope.
Yeah. I mean, like, the only one, like, with this one is, like, Nia Jax versus Bayley. I mean, it could go either way. Like, a lot of people are expecting Bayley to win, but, oh, shocker, Nia Jax won. Like, not that big of a shocker, but...
Yeah. And it was kind of a fluke victory where Bayley was hurt, so,
Yeah. But yeah, do you have a wrestler and match of the week?
There were no matches worth caring about enough to qualify for match of the week.
Yeah, I didn't have one either.
But I'll give wrestler of the week to Cage.
Me too. That's exactly who I have. I have no match of the week, and I have Cage as my wrestler of the week.
Exactly.
All right. Well, do you have anything to say before we end it?
Not really. Enjoy Raw tomorrow night.
Yeah, and enjoy Extreme Rules tonight. Hopefully, I know I'm kind of looking forward to the Reigns AJ match, even though I know AJ most likely won't win. Only because Reigns has, in my opinion, his best matches when there are no rules.
Exactly.
Like his Hell in a Cell match with Bray Wyatt was really freaking good. His Last Man Standing match with Big Show surprisingly was really good. So yeah, like when there's no rules, I think Reigns puts in his best work. So I'm looking forward to that one, and the Fatal 4-Way, which I think might be match of the night.
Possibility, strong possibility.
Yeah. But yeah, so that it for this week.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, if you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at JJ Wrestling Show. We just surpassed 400 followers. Keep it going. Keep it going, folks. Go like our Facebook page, Joey and James Wrestling Super Show Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at JJ Wrestling Super Show. We do upload to iTunes and Podbean. but we also upload to YouTube as well. You can find our channel on there. It's JandJ Wrestling Super Show, and that's JAND. So please rate, review, subscribe, share, tweet, favorite, like, whatever you want to do. Just share it every way you can. We appreciate it greatly. Where can they find you on social media, James?
At James Tingstrom on Twitter.
Alrighty. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at SpaceJamIsMyJam. So please follow us on there if you want more of this. If you want to send us some emails, suggestions, hate mail, segment suggestions, show reviews, send us emails at JandJWrestlingSupershow@gmail.com, and that is JANDJ. Well, folks, that's going to be it for this podcast. Come back next weekend. We're going to talk what happened at Extreme Rules, plus everything that happened in the world of wrestling, WWE, NXT, Lucha Underground. Probably not Ring of Honor, because I think it's just a recap of like Young Buck stuff. So who knows? But yeah, in the meantime, that does it for us here at the Wrestling Super Show podcast. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.
Later.
Peace out.
Preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.